I've had a very interesting journey into health and wellness, and it has been through my professional experience. I've trained in therapy, and I have specialised in cognitive behavioural therapy and dual diagnosis. I've also trained in sand play therapy, especially working with children, narrative therapy, and also grief therapy. And all those modalities have informed how I work with children, with families, with a range of people. One of the main influences in terms of me really understanding healing and understanding the process of health and well-being and wellness is my own personal journey. It's my own personal transformation. And that is the nitty-gritty. That is the stuff that is, the stuff that you don't read in books. That is lived experience of walking through some of the challenges and obstacles that many people face today. So my journey, my healing journey really started when I was 19, I was almost 20, and I started to have repressed memories start to come. I had immense stress I had teachers training college. I had about 7 assignments due. I had university exams pending. I had a relationship that kind of folded before it even begun, but I felt sad about it. And so I had emotional stress, and I had all these external stresses, and I was finding it hard to function. And what happened was I started to have nightmares and dreams, and so these repressed memories started to seep out. And that was the beginning of my journey, actually facing the truth and experiencing and acknowledging the fact that I had been sexually abused as a child, and that trauma I had buried. When I look back in my childhood, I had many symptoms where, I would freeze for hours and stare at the door and the window, and I wouldn't be able to move, and I'll be pouring with sweat. So I was paralysed with fear. I was very hypervigilant at night. I didn't sleep well. I had recurring nightmares, and there were many things that happened through my childhood that I recall now, and actually were pointing at that. I was very anxious and scared when any male showed interest to me, even as a young child. And so when I was 19, it was really the truth that set me free. The truth didn't actually have visual memory, it was a knowing. It was a deep knowing, and that was the beginning of a journey. And I didn't try, because every time I started to remember, I had anxiety and panic attacks. My brain wouldn't allow me to remember. My body wouldn't allow me to remember. It was too distressing. It was too painful. And so I've learned that I don't need to recount. I don't need to remember. My body doesn't need to. My mind doesn't need to. But I know within me, and that journey of facing the truth has actually allowed me to become freer and freer. So it has been a long journey, because that trauma manifested in different ways. It manifested in depression that started when I was 15, and an eating disorder at the same time. It manifested in anxiety, social anxiety, performance anxiety, and that sort of progressed. But as soon as I started that healing journey, where the truth, confronting the truth, acknowledging the truth, the eating disorder just went. That actually went overnight. Fundamental to my journey of transformation is my faith. Even in the darkest hours, weeks where I couldn't get out of bed, where I couldn't function, where I wanted to die. Within me, I had been instilled by my mother that there was a plan and a purpose for my life, that my life had purpose and value. And so even in those times, I remembered that my life had a plan, my life had a purpose. And so that gave me hope. That actually inspired me to move forward, because there's a plan. There's something else. This isn't where it's going to stay. So my journey has been having faith in God, having faith that there is a plan and purpose for my life, and also having faith that this will not be how I feel forever, that things will change. And through it, I've found that just taking that step one day at a time, moving forward and believing that the best is yet to come, has actually helped me move through the dark times, helped me move through those challenges. I am sitting here today in a completely different space from what I was in those years. I am sitting here today where I don't experience depression. Those thinking patterns have been completely transformed. I am living what I believe is a thriving life, and for many years just surviving and coping. And I've been able to transition and move through into actually thriving and really living. And for years, it was like a word that sort of dropped into my spirit over and over again: live, live, live. And it actually was a word that I actually heard audibly: live, live, live. And now I have internalized that. So now I really live. Not just coping, not just surviving. I really want to live. I want to live life fully, the good, the bad, the hard, the difficult times, because those do come, because that's part of life.